So it's GenCon 2012, and no trip would be complete without a stop here at the Flying Frog Productions booth. I'm here with Jack Scott Hill and Jason Hill, the whole Flying Frog team for once, and we're going to talk about, they have a standalone that's also kind of an expansion to the game and an expansion to another game. So let's start with the sort of standalone expansion.
Yes, so we're very excited because this year is the 5th anniversary of Last Night on Earth. It's hard to believe that 5 years ago on this very show floor, we were here in a small 10-foot by 10-foot booth introducing Last Night on Earth to the world for the first time. And here 5 years later, we knew we wanted to do something really special. It's the 5-year anniversary. So we took an expansion that we were already working on. We just kind of blew it out of the water. We're like, let's make it more expanded. Let's put in all the stuff so that it could actually be a standalone expansion. It could be played on its own. And let's take this opportunity to further the storyline a little bit. So instead of just more characters and more stuff you can add to the original game, this is one where we actually visit a whole new town. So as you probably know, or your viewers probably know, the original Last Night on Earth takes place in a small, sleepy town of Woodinvale as it's besieged by terrible undead armies of zombies. And in this new one, basically, some of the original Woodinvale heroes have made it out. Perhaps they escaped in the truck, something along these lines, and they make it out, and we see what happens to them as they head for the hills, literally, up to a mining town called Timber Peak. And they're hoping if they go deep into the woods enough, they can actually escape this zombie outbreak. But as it turns out, more problems, all new zombie terror. And so they get to this town of Timber Peak, they find new heroes that they join forces with, and some of the old heroes, we see them in a new way. Because, for example, Sally is back, but she's no longer the sweet, naive girl that we once knew. She's seen things, horrible things. And so she now is no longer a lightweight. She can actually fire, guns bigger than a pistol, that kind of thing. And we see Jake Cartwright is back. He, of course, is a survivor. He's not going down, not like a chump anyway. And then also Sheriff Anderson. So the three of those characters all have brand new stats abilities where we see they've fought some stuff, and this is kind of like the second gen version of them. And along with new miniature sculpts for each of them that are fantastic. The new Sally looks exactly like the actress. It's fantastic and amazing.
Wow.
She saw it and she was like, that does look like me, only pissed. And I'm like, perfect. So we knew he did something right, our sculptor. Anyway, so the three characters that you already know, seen in a new way. Okay. Joining forces with three brand new characters, Ed Baker, the lumberjack. We have Alice, the diner waitress, and also Nikki, the bush pilot. And it's a whole new town of Timber Peak, formed with a centerboard, double-sided, and 6 L-shaped boards that can be configured to make a random town, just like Last Night on Earth. All new scenarios, zombies in different colors. It's everything that is familiar to you about Last Night on Earth, but brand new, because new stuff that you know, there's a spin on it. And I personally love it. I've been playing this more than the original Last Night on Earth. You can play it standalone on its own, or you can play it mixed with the other games.
In terms of mechanics and rules, are we talking
it's
virtually
sort of
the same, or are there
sort
new
of
twists or tweaks to it?
Right. It's sort of the ultimate rules set. So we have everything that we had before, but then we've added the rules for fires.
Oh, okay.
We've added rules for experience, so upgrades for both heroes and zombies. So there's 3 upgrade decks for the heroes. They've got a melee upgrade deck, they've got a ranged upgrade deck, and a special upgrade deck. And every time they kill a zombie, they get experience points. They get an experience point. And the first one that you get costs you 3 experience points, and each one after costs 1 more. So the first one costs 3, then 4, then 5, and so on. And every time a hero gets enough experience to get a new upgrade card, then they get to choose from these decks. You don't have to continue with one. You can get one from each or whatever.
Right. And lets you choose the path of your hero as you advance.
Yes, so much like a role-playing game, you get to kind of tailor your character as you go throughout one game.
Okay.
And
does that carry over from scenario to scenario, or
you could easily use it for a campaign system if you wanted to carry the same heroes from game to game.
Seems like you're headed maybe in that direction. At least that's one way you can play.
Yes, most definitely. And these abilities that you get are a lot of them them are familiar because they're abilities you've already seen for other characters. So for example, Becky the Nurse can heal other characters. That's one of these upgrades. So you could be Sheriff Anderson and get this upgrade where you can now heal other characters. There's one called like Deadeye, where you can increase your range of your gun by 2 because you become a Deadeye shot. So you can see where these would be really helpful. And also there's that kind of fun gambling aspect where you're drawing and going, oh, what am I going to get? I want to boost this character. So that's really fun, and the upgrade decks can be used even with the original Last Night on Earth. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to put into your original Last Night on Earth or put it all in wholesale. For me personally, I've been playing it standalone, and it feels like a really nice adventure in this town, and then sometimes I play in this town. You can mix and match, it's up to you. We always like to do that with our games and tailor it. You like to play co-op? Do you like to play team games? Do you want to play solo? Do you want to play competitive? We try to include it all so we can tailor it to your gaming group and whatever you enjoy the most.
And I think that's smart in terms of being able to provide an experience that multiple different kinds of gamers can have fun with too. Now, this is available now?
This is going to be available in stores in September.
Okay.
But we actually got a limited quantity flown in air freight from China, so we can have them here on the show floor for GenCon. Right. We're all about the fans, and we wanted to have something really special on the show floor.
Great. Now, we have a second game to talk about, and this is an expansion to A Touch of Evil, which is a gothic horror.
Yeah, so A Touch of Evil.
Let me bring Jason right in here. This is Jason Hill. He's the designer of the games and my brother, so I can, And so let me swap here.
Sure.
We'll tag him in.
Yes.
So A Touch of Evil, the supernatural game, is sort of gothic horror. It takes place in post-colonial America around 1800 or so. So it has vampires and ghosts and werewolves and all of that. And that's kind of our second biggest game, and has been going strong for 4 years now. And so we have a new expansion that is long awaited, is The Coast. And it basically adds a bunch of new material, a new board that features a coastline, a sort of fog-shrouded, haunted coastline. And there's cool new locations you can explore and visit, like a shipwreck and a smuggler's cove. There's also a big lighthouse you can go to where there's a crazy lighthouse keeper who has befriended a pet kraken that lives in the sea, and so he knocks unwary travelers over the head and then feeds them to his pet kraken, things like that. And there's also even a brand new town on the coastline called Tidewater, which is sort of a long cursed fishing village that's haunted by their past discretions. And so it's very ghost themed, very ocean themed.
Okay.
There's new villains you can hunt, like a shipwreck that has a unique ghost pirate captain that can come out and pillage and plunder the coastline in the town of Shadowbrook. And there's a siren that can lure you into the sea and use her harpy minions to come down and attack the travelers. There's also new heroes that you can play that are also kind of coastal themed. There's Maria de la Rosa, the Spanish smuggler, and characters like Argot Blackwell, the master hunter from Europe, who's very grizzled, has a big eye patch, but he's got he's full of weapons, and just lots of cool new material and cool stuff that you can explore in the coast. And the other aspect of that is we have Hero Pack 2 also coming out, which adds 4 new heroes, a new villain, the Reaper, who travels the countryside and hunts down town elders and townspeople to reap their souls, and lots of cool new stuff. Those are also due out in September, but we also got some of those flown in just for the show for a pre-release sale here at GenCon.
Great. It seems like with the coast and the horror theme that there might be a little Lovecraftian influence.
There's always a little bit of that. It's hard to not feel that Lovecraft roots kind of seeping their way in. Yeah.
Right, especially with the New England sort of
aspect
to it as well.
Yep.
Now, in terms of the narrative of these games, how does it dovetail with the original? Like the map board, is it attached to the original
so
board?
The map for the coast basically is a continuation from the original board. Okay. And if you have the Something Wicked expansion, which was the previous one, that also fits right in between them. So the road is continuous between all 3 boards. And so you can play with just the original or just the original and the coast, or you can put all 3 together and have just a massive board to explore and hunt down the villains across.
Great. I can't believe it's been 5 years since I know we've talked to you every year, I think, since since then, and it's great to see how well the company's done, and it seems like every year you've got more and more things. Are there any new things you can tease us about? Since we have the brother team here, I want to put you guys on the spot. And
one thing we've announced, which is really exciting, is another expansion for our first expansion for Conquest of Planet Earth, the Space Alien game.
Nice.
And it's called Conquest of Planet Earth Apocalypse. And it basically is scheduled for a fall release, or a holiday release, excuse me.
Okay.
And we're doing some playtests or prototype demonstrations of it, I guess, here at the show, so people can see what it's about before the official release gets out there in a few months from now. And it makes it a 5 or 6 player game instead of only 1 to 4. So it adds new purple and orange saucers to the mix, more boards, so you can have a bigger board to play with more people. It also adds the coastal resistance for the humans. So you can get the U.S. Navy in there with battleships and aircraft carriers, and new alien races to play at, and just a lot of cool stuff, including the Apocalypse Cube, the most feared alien in the galaxy. It's a giant cube of destruction that just hovers across the land, laying waste to all in its path.
Can't go wrong with it.
Yeah, and the miniature for that is just amazing. It's this giant, out-of-scale cube with the rest of the figures, and it sits atop a giant laser blast that's laying waste to its base that it flies on.
Cool. Well, that's something to look forward to here. It seems like you've got a full lineup here for the rest of the year.
Definitely.
With all the expansions and standalone things coming, there's no lack of new things going on here at Flying Frog. I'll wrap up by the one I always have to kind of ask you about, the look and the feel of your games, because I think it's so different than so many other games. And you probably may have noticed in the background here while we're filming, the people in character and in costumes here. That's something that seems to be something you've committed to, and is going to be a part of your games for the foreseeable future, no matter the genre that you use. Sort of describe that. I know we talked about it maybe in the past a little bit, but talk about the sort of just the way you approach the art and the look of the games.
You want to swap in? Sure. He's tagging me in.
Yeah.
He's tagging me in.
Back.
So that's something that we really hadn't seen in games before, and I'm a photographer. I've done that and shooting with models and stuff for a long time. So when we first started looking at doing these games, I suggested maybe we should take a photographic approach. This is really scary because if it's done wrong, it's horrible. And we just worked on it a lot and kind of saw what works. And I think that the biggest secret was approaching it like a movie. So we really treated it like a movie. We got lighting and fog, and we built partial sets, and we went to locations that were great. We did location scouting, costuming. We took it very seriously. It's not just throw on a t-shirt and get out there.
Yeah.
And then we just treated it as though we're doing a film, but instead of film, we just do still images.
So what have you learned from having done this for five years?
I think
what
that
not
we've
to
been
do
learning
or what to
something
do.
because I feel like the pictures are better than when we started. Like I feel like they're getting better and better. We're trying to top ourselves each time. I don't know. It's gotten a lot smoother. Our shoots now are a lot more organized, and we kind of know what to expect, and we have the pacing out. And the other thing is, when we were first doing it, people had no idea what they were getting into, and so when we would approach models or actors, they're like, "What? What is this?" And they wouldn't quite understand. Now we'll actually have models or actors that have heard of the game that are like, "I would love to be part of this," and it's like, "Well, maybe, okay." And so it's pretty cool. It's just in a different place in our cycle of development. But it's been fantastic, and we've met and worked with amazing people and formed some fantastic friendships out of it too. The best thing about it is having people behind it, because when you have like an illustrated thing or a video game thing, like Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, all the time at conventions I'll see like someone representing Lara Croft,
right,
and
right.
It's a model or an actress in a costume, and they're like, "Hi," and you scratch the surface, and there's nothing beneath it. It's
right.
They hired me for the day, and I'm here like dressed as Lara Croft, and that's as far as it goes. But with this, every single character in every single game is a person, and they bring so much to that.
They're invested in that sort of role.
Exactly.
So to speak.
And when we have them come out to a show like this, you're not meeting just some random person off the street. They're the person behind that. You're meeting them in the flesh,
right.
And there's nothing like that. Ever since the very first GenCon, where we had Jenny the Farmer's Daughter out here, and she would come up behind people. They're playing in the Last Night on Earth demo, and they're playing as Jenny, and they have no idea she's there. And she comes up behind them, and she's like, "How am I doing?" And they're like, "Ah!" Because no one has seen anything like this before. It's like she just jumped right out of your game into real life, and she's standing there, and the reactions are amazing. And I never get tired of that. It's pretty fantastic. And even here, I've seen it today. It's pretty awesome.
That's great. Well, if people want to find out more information about Flying Frog Productions, where can they find out more information online?
Our website is flyingfrog.net. We also have a wiki site that's flyingfrogwiki.com. And the wiki is fantastic because we have all the games in there. We've put in all the cards, all the rule books, and they're all wikified, so they all kind of cross-link between them. It's also a great place for news and information, reviews. We'll have a link from that page to this very interview. And so those are the best places. Other than that, Facebook, Twitter, and Board Game Geek.
Excellent. Well, thanks so much for taking some time out to talk to us. We always enjoy our time here.
Agreed. Us as well.
Keep up the great work.
All right. Thank you.